everyone, welcome back to my channel where we give flowers to the musical legends who deserve their shine but don't also get the recognition that they should. It's Kedar, aka KD Smooth here, and today we're diving into the life and the career of one of the most underrated bassists in music history, Mr. Bob Babbitt. Now this video, I gave y'all the choice, of who you wanted me to do a video on next. I put a poll up, I'll put it up there somewhere so y'all can see it and something like that. But I put a poll up and I had Bob Babbitt, Janice Marie Johnson from A Taste of Honey, Prince, and Joyce Irby. And then I asked y'all who y'all wanted me to, do a video on next, and Bob Babbitt won. Now you may not know his name, but you've definitely heard his work from Motown hits like Signed, Sealed, Delivered, and The Tears of a Clown, to the classic groove of Midnight Train to Georgia and the legendary bass solo on Scorpio. Bob Babbitt left a lasting mark on the world of music. In this video, we'll explain his incredible contributions, the songs that he helped make iconic, and why he's still influencing musicians today. So if you're a fan of music history, and love uncovering the unhidden gems behind your favorite tracks, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, share, and let's get into the story of Bob Babbitt, the man behind the groove. Born Robert Craner on November 26, 1937 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Bob Babbitt grew up in a time where music was rapidly evolving. The early influences of jazz, big band, and early rock and roll shaped the soundscape of the 1940s and 1950s, and Babbitt was deeply immersed in it all. His musical journey began with classical training on an upright bass, where he honed his technical skills. However, as the electric bass guitar became more prominent in popular music, Babbitt transitioned, realizing that this new instrument was where his future really lay. After moving to Detroit in the late 1950s, Babbitt was positioned in one of the most exciting musical cities of the time. Detroit wasn't just known for its automotive industry, it was about to become synonymous with Motown, a label that would transform American popular music. But before Bob Babbitt became a Motown mainstay, he cut his teeth playing in various jazz and R&B bands around Detroit. These early gigs gave him the opportunity to develop a style that was both technically proficient and deeply groovy, with traits that would define his career as a session bassist. Motown was founded in 1959 by Berry Gordy, and it didn't take long for the label to become a cultural force. Behind the scene of every hit Motown song, there was a group of talented session musicians who were collectively known as the Funk Brothers. These musicians were responsible for crafting the tight rhythmic sound that became synonymous with Motown. Now, Bob Babbitt wasn't the original bass player for the Funk Brothers. That honor belonged to the late great James Jamerson, whose innovative bass playing helped shape the early Motown sound. But as Jamerson's health declined in the late 1960s, Babbitt was brought in to fill the gaps of stepping into the shoes of a legend like Jamerson, who was no small task. But Babbitt brought his own unique voice to the recordings while respecting the foundation that Jamerson had laid down. For Babbitt, playing with the Funk Brothers was a career-defining moment. He was now a part of a group that included some of the most talented session musicians in the world, from drummer Benny Benjamin to keyboardist Earl Van Dyke. Together, they were responsible for the backing tracks of countless Motown hits, though their names were rarely recognized at the time. When you think of the Motown sound, it's often the vocalists who come to mind. Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, but the musicians in the background were just as vital to those hits. One of Bob Babbitt's most enduring contributions is on Marvin Gaye's Inner City Blues, Make Me Wanna Holler, Released in 1971 as part of Gay's political chart album What's Going On, the track features a simple yet powerful bass line. Babbitt's playing here demonstrates his ability to hold back and serve the song's emotion, creating a steady pulse that adds gravity to Marvin's message about urban hardships and disillusionment. Another standout moment in Babbitt's career came with Smokey Robinson in The Miracles, The Tears of a Clown. This song's upbeat, circus-like rhythm contrasts with its melodical lyrics, and Babbitt's bass lines drives the arrangement forward with both energy and precision. You can hear how Babbitt perfectly complements the bouncy melody, filling in the space between Robinson's vocals and the swirling instrumentation. Perhaps one of Babbitt's most widely recognized performances, especially outside of the Motown sound, is on Midnight Train to Georgia by Gladys Knight and the Pips. The smooth, soulful groove of that song is anchored by Babbitt's understated yet emotionally rich bass line. His playing on that track is a masterclass on how to enhance a song without overpowering it. The bass remains in the background, but it adds a layer of warmth and depth that carries the song to its emotional peak. And then there's Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours by Stevie Wonder. Now, this is where Babbitt's bass playing is nothing short of infectious. The syncopation between the bass and the drums provides the song with its signature bounce. Here, Babbitt's style is much more upfront, showing his ability to lock in with the rhythm section and deliver a groove that demands attention. While Bob Babbitt made his mark in the Motown studio, his career didn't end there. As Motown began to move its operations to Los Angeles in the early 1970s, Babbitt chose to stay in the East Coast scene. He relocated to New York and became a first call session musician for producers across various genres. His work outside of Motown proved that he wasn't confined to one single sound. He could adapt to anything from rock to pop to jazz. One of his most notable performances from this period was his work on Scorpio, a 1971 funk instrumental by guitarist Dennis Coffey. The song's bass line became legendary, especially Babbitt's fast-paced solo, which remains a favorite amongst bass players to this day, including myself. This song allowed Babbitt to showcase his ability to not only hold down a groove, but to also stand out as a soloist. His bass solo on Scorpio pushed the boundaries of what bass players were expected to do, and inspiring a generation of funk and soul musicians. For much of his career, Bob Babbitt remained in the background like many session musicians of his era. However, that all changed in 2002 with the release of the documentary Standing in the Shadows of Motown. The film brought the story of the Funk Brothers to light, showcasing how these musicians were the unsung heroes behind countless Motown hits. For Babbitt, the documentary was a long overdue recognition for his contributions to popular music. In the documentary, Babbitt reflects on his time at Motown and shares stories of working with some of the greatest musicians of all time. The film not only introduced a new generation of listeners to Babbitt's work, but also gave him the recognition that he deserved as one of the most influential bass players in modern music history. Bob Babbitt's playing style was deeply rooted in groove, but what set him apart was his ability to adapt to whatever the song needed. His classical and jazz training gave him a deep understanding of music theory, and he used that knowledge to craft bass lines that was both melodic and rhythmic. Whether he was laying down a simple groove or playing intricate solos, Babbitt's playing was always in service of the song. Even though Bob Babbitt passed away in 2012, his legacy lives on through countless tracks he contributed to the generations of bass players that he inspired. His work with the Funk Brothers and beyond continues to influence bassists in all genres, from funk and soul to rock and pop. Every time you hear one of his iconic bass lines, you're hearing a piece of musical history. Bob Babbitt's story is one of perseverance, adaptability, and undeniable talent. He was a musician who spent much of his career in the background, but his contribution to the work of Motown was integral and beyond. His ability to blend technical proficiency with deep emotional expression on the bass guitar made him a standout figure, even if the general public didn't always know his name. In recognizing Bob Babbitt, we not only give him the flowers he deserves, but we also honor the countless session musicians who have quietly shaped the soundtrack of our lives. These musicians may not always get the spotlight, but without them, many of the songs we love wouldn't be the same. Alright y'all, that's it for this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and also share with your friends or to those who you think would be interested in this kind of topic. I love giving flowers and recognition to those who are gone and are still here that don't get the recognition that they deserve. In my next video, I may do the second place winner from the poll, or just comment down below who you want me to do a video on next. Also, make sure y'all follow me on my social media, on my Instagram and my TikTok. My Instagram is kdsmooth112_, and my TikTok is the name's kdsmooth. Until next time, please be good to each other, because the Lord knows y'all have been good to me. And if you didn't know me before, you should know me by now. This is Kiar, aka KD Smooth, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and God bless.